Hello and welcome. Today's date, that of the 13th day of January, currently 11:39 a.m. Eastern Time as I'm doing this video. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. I talked about Hadara yesterday. I think it's been going to go up, and it has been going up, but just a little bit at 156 Satoshi against the Bitcoin. I have a arrow here, which is where I have a seller at 164. That's just a decent leg higher from this leg. I don't think this move is over. And the bid orders on Bittrex, it was like, oh my goodness, there's just looks like there's a buyers are in control. As the bidders are in control over the askers. And when that's the case, I don't want to sell anywhere near this range. So I'm going to take the chance and try to get about another like 5 percentage points. And it's what I like to do, trade against other crosses. First one would be Bitcoin Cash, and I'm trading against several, four I think, different pairings within Hadara. And then this also represents it's already in the lower end of this range already as it is. Now that it is in that lower range and we resisted here at 140, I would like to see how that area would be the low area, even like 130 something, 138, 137. But hold and really stay above like 146, 147, 148 area. That's what I would like to see for the more long-term movement within the market. Of course, when these things can go really, really nicely. And I like this setup, as I've talked about, reversal of trend. And this is doing things for at least a setup move relatively fast and well, where you're in a downtrend, stage one, band flatten out, which can take several days of just going sideways, or you can have one big move and hold it, which is what happened. So we were in a down move, and then this here, okay, at least try to neutralize the situation, establish resistance, and by holding, you can see how the band pretty much goes flat. So you kind of you kill two birds with one stone, as they like to say, or as I used to hear it back when I was growing up as a term. So we're neutralizing and coming back to support relatively around the same time. And now the lift off, breaking out above this. This looks very fantastic. And you see price action break above this high noticeably, like 178 and 180 area, breaking above that. I got to think that it's going to probably even at least come in well in the 200s at least, if it manages to make it to that point. But it's got to get above that resistance, but I think that it is going to do so. I don't see any monster volume coming in that's telling me. I see this big volume here that's breaking out at this point, but I still don't see the volume that should indicate that this market is toppy for this leg higher. So that's why I'm still kind of convinced that this run is going to keep going. So when I sell this against Bitcoin Cash, well, I got other things. So after that, if it keeps going higher, well, I got what's next on the list. And that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. Just keep on chopping away as it moves higher. And I love it when I can look at this and everything's in the green. I mean, not much for percentage moves, but gold and silver are barely up. Heck, I get paid in US dollars oftentimes, so that's a bit, not like it's really up. It's pretty much nothing, as if it really matters anyway. And then to see all these altcoins overperforming Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's up 1.5% or $500. So $500, like, man, whatever, just something. And you can see that when we look at the 1 hour time frame, just really hanging in there within these lines that I put in before. It's, wow. I mean, they do what they do, I suppose. I mean, lifting off right here. Let's take a look at this on the 15. It's just sick how these things work. I got a low, and these were just in the area, so I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but so it's just like, wow, it just comes down here, straight move, but it doesn't. I mean, it resisted here, straight move. This is what I remember looking at. I'm thinking, no, it resisted. Because I remember thinking about this last night. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this. No, it resisted and came back. But yeah, we come over here, we resist it, and then pretty much right back again to this level. But notice the difference here, how it chopped below and it congested at this point. And when you're seeing all this, you could say, oh, it's either going to be support or resistance, because you look at this on the 2130 stamp here. What happens if this was the opposite, like a red candle down? Oh, and then you'd be like talking about going down below here. You'd be like, oh, we resisted at this level after congesting. No, we supported it now after congesting. We resisted it. We didn't congest here on this point on the 2215 stamp. And over two periods, we supported it, piercing, at least on this number, I pierced above this number. I don't know what the exact number was, but in or around it did hit those levels as it was. And since then, it gets above this point on the 215 in the morning. And it's like, okay, well, it's got to break it one side or another. It's not as bullish as it was, say, like earlier in the morning, but it hasn't broken out or broken down amongst this time frame. A very firm range between this line that I got in around 34,200 and change, or basically 34,100 even, and then resistance in at around about 35,000. So really the entire 34,000 range has been an entire level of resistance multiple times, supporting and resisting. We're also in a stage here where, hey, this resistance on the 11 stamp, lower and even lower than this point. But as of now anyway, this period and previous period is above this, and we are making higher lows in here. So now we're in a tight range as it is, and we're getting tighter within a symmetrical triangle. At one point, it's got to break it. And when it breaks it, either to the upside or the downside, expect a concise move. And therefore, key levels, 32,7 and change. Another test of that would be next key level lower. And it didn't hit it last time with the 37. When I see things like this, when you miss it on a noticeable pierce less, and then you have a very good successful correctionary phase, and this is most certainly, I mean, by price, wow, twice by price, this move, and that via time, that on a breakout, I mean, this isn't going to be resistance probably. It might be support, but I don't think it'd be resistance if we're starting to break out above it. I mean, it has in the past, but I don't like the potential for it. I think the more probability is if you see the price. I mean, it's got to do more than just get to like 35.7-ish area. It's got to pretty much continue on further, like 36 high change area, and it could pull back then. But either way, it looks like if it does that, I want to see it come up, hold, and stay. I mean, we resisted the 35. Now I want to see it hold and stay above it for 3 or 4 periods, or in this case, hours. And then it'll be like, okay, yeah, I know what's going on here. And you know what's going on. That is probably going to be, well, you look at this previous level of support, we're talking, not only would it be going to 40, but it would be, I mean, it's game over for this short intermediate term on the bears. The bulls will regain control, and it would just be 44, 46, 48, 50 most likely, because it's all going to come down to how it reacts to this move. Now, I can't guarantee that in the sense of it can very easily have a noticeable pierce, have one noticeable intermediate leg high around 38, and then roll over. I mean, but the way things are going at this moment within the technical level, the fact that, to me, and this is a more longer term level, but 60,000 is conservative, but it's that and conservative too. So we can intermediately hit 60,000. Intermediately means relatively soon, this month, next month, by latest into March. And then you have a noticeable decent correction that would span at least 2 to 4 months. And even 6 and 8 count as well. I've been saying at least. I don't know if 2 would count. That's why I say at least 2 to 4. 2 to 3 at least, I should say, in that point. But within that, then you'd be like, okay, 80, 100, 140, 180. And then you do better than that conservative target. And that's, of course, if Bitcoin even does such a thing, which I think is highly favored to do so. So that is that on the Bitcoin. We got, 4 months now going up in a row, breaking out. October, 28%. 43 in November. The final month of the year was up almost to, what's the number after a grand? Like almost 10 grand, but I just want a blank, like a noun singular word that represents 10,000. Then you have so many. Then you need one for 100,000. You got one for a million. But I guess you need to have 3 zeros after it, then another every 3 zeros. Anyway, this month so far up 19.5%, but halfway through, almost 13th day, it could be an explosive up month, and it can still be a down month. Market, of course, is extended on the monthly, overextended on the weekly, big time, but not as big, but kinda. I mean, just one sideways month. That's it. There was 3 here, and there was 1 here, but that was after only had like 3 months up, and this is 4 months up after 3 sideways. And that is that for Bitcoin. Let's look at Theta. What's up with Theta? 12% up. And this is raw analysis for the most part, because I haven't planned this like I did with Hedera. And, well, no, I didn't really plan Bitcoin. I just Hedera. All right, then. So on the daily chart, I mean, it hit this level pretty much perfect. Not the resistance though. Pierce less. Nice little sideways kind of range for like 5-6 days. Very volatile day yesterday, as the price action managed to break this high, basically making a statement, and a big statement at that. And then pulling back to stay within this sideways range where you're closing and around this area. I'm not going to draw a line, but it's pretty easy to tell these 5 periods. They're in the same vote. But this one's different so far. I mean, noticeably breaking what was a noticeable break before and getting above, and it's holding so far above the key Fibonacci. Well, I look at these 4-day highs. You know what? And the Fibonacci, the range is simple now. From that Fibonacci line down to like 53 low, that's where you need to see it hold on the short term. So let's look at a shorter term now. Well, what are these two lines? This high is 55.80. And then this area, which I'll see better on the 1 hour and 15 minute. But nice little breakout here, because you resist the Fibonacci here. And you pretty much did here piercing less. I always like to say, I try not to think it doesn't count, because it always counts to me when it pierces extra. But I still got to count that as a hit at that level, because it's barely close enough. I mean, it's not far off. So a retest of that level. And how many times have I talked about this pattern of showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs? And there you see it. There we see it. We have the 19 stamp where it has that significant break after spending 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 16 or so periods congesting or correcting within correctionary phase. And over the next 6 periods, it was still in the correctionary phase because it was in the 18 band. It was attempting with the barely now rising 18 after it was most certainly noticeably kind of flat for that dozen plus or so periods. But within all 6, it hardly, if ever, went to the 18 closes, which is not shown. Maybe this period might have, but it just stayed and congested amongst this. So that's kind of telling you the probability odds that it was going to do what it has done over the 3 and then the 7-hour stamp is by no means a surprise. None whatsoever. And we can see here that's already gotten above this level of resistance, and noticeably that's huge. You can almost say it's a buy almost. You almost got to think, well, at least if the other time frame support it, did the daily support it? Not really, actually. Because of the fact that it's at the 18 hours. But it doesn't say that you sell, and it doesn't say it's not going to go up. It just says, okay, well, we've had this up run to this high, the down move, and the question becomes, can we correct within this majorly rising 18? And at first, on the 7th, the answer might have been, and that's keyword might have been no. Because when you go below, but the two things I've talked about is one, can it hold and stay above? And then like the weekly chart, well, it's been a big move. Well, the weekly fight support, then the answer to that is well, yeah, kind of, yeah. So therefore, we can see, and even the 3-day and 4-day would have been, basically the 3-day chart, I can't have access to it. The 2 and 3-day charts, or like the 40-hour, 50-hour would have had support at the 18 lows. With that being said, though, it's holding and staying within it. We are in a bull market, so that's another reason I can't give any seller crescents or short crescents towards the situation. But on this time frame, I would need to see it get like closer to like near 7,000 for me to say, okay, yeah, this is a good time to buy. Which makes it an interesting point when you're playing intermediate term time frame setups. Because the setup here is saying, yeah, oh my goodness, this is not going to go long. I mean, you break it, you just do it. You can go long now. If you want to play the game and hope it gets back, maybe put a buy order somewhere at 57 change, whatever. Of course, by doing that, you get a better price by like 5%, whatever. That's a better deal. You can cost you 5% less, get 5% more theta. The reward, that's your reward. That's your bidder gain. That's it. Your risk is that this thing goes up and you don't get your buy order filled, so you lose it on the play. And remember, every single time that this move happens to be a failed breakout, 100% of the time, you will buy at that level and you will lose more going down. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to buy back where it comes from. Understand, is it worth that extra savings that you're going to get? I would think in this time frame it would be a buy now over the buy order. but I don't play it that way. I'm just going to be looking for these markets to go up, and I'll make some deposits to sell. I got next up on the list, I got Bitcoin Cash. This is next on the list. Bitcoin Cash and Theta have been really well lately, because Bitcoin Cash has had some interesting failed breakouts here and there. So I've been often, oh, I can sell some Bitcoin Cash for Theta. I want to do it. And I did. And then now, of course, Theta's starting to go back up a bit. And Bitcoin Cash, even though it's up a bit today, it's been pretty much going down. Now on the single hour term time frame, this is, you resist this fib at 19 stamp, hold it for one, get above it, and then you correct it over several periods, unable to hold anything on that time frame. And it doesn't even look like it would have done well in the 5 minute and such as well. But you did higher low to here, which is, I'm not going to say that's easy, but it kind of should be, and very important. It did go to where it came from. So holding and staying above that level that's established as you start to move becomes important. Short-term Fibonacci, I'm not going to calculate it, but from here to here becomes important for that time frame and anything shorter. But we can see, as it was showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs on the 4 hour, how it was showing holding very nicely here amongst the single hour. Attempting to get above here? No. But supporting well. Same thing here. Attempting? No. Supporting well. Attempting here? For one period, no. But yeah, it worked this time because we had 2 periods of holding at the 18 highs and 3 great periods. Now, 2 sideways. So we've had. So if you're looking for the, would I rather buy now, or would I rather bought, say, at the top here? I'd rather buy now because this was a little overextended. But I still would have liked to buy here in the sense of, can you handle any correctionary phase, and to what degree, and how do you play the situations if this is a failed breakout? Different ways of analyzing things. And then, of course, that's going to help in assuring risk versus reward management. And that's the risk side, of course, when you're looking at the loss venture. And amongst the 15-minute time frame, it's decently extended, and it's only had one okay gain. You can say, okay, we got Fibonacci from this low to this high. If it's going to pull over, which means 1 hour, as we've been saying, well, it's been extended, and we've already been there, but that just tells you on this breakout, we could be going up, we could be going down, but the live setups for these things to have good moves is in play. And it's always, when these cryptos, when they're ready to go off, they can have these fantastic moves. And when you analyze this on the weekly, just a fantastic situation and reward probabilities that come into play on the breakout. As we've had this down move, and I've talked about this so many times, 1, 2, 3 moves, all of them correcting harshly. And then the 4th one, and you can say it was a harsh correction, but it was a beautiful one amongst the 18, at least for price wise. And quite frankly, I wish it would have been a little more. It would have went down to like 18 or so, because I had a few buy orders ready to go. But you know what? It is what it is. And then we have the, like I said, it holds it well, breaks out, does the move again. Same thing. You can say, a little harsh in the sense that it went from 74 to 34. And I got a few buy orders back again. Not as much. I got a decent amount. Not as much as I could have liked. And I know in time, I'm going to talk about this later on, about when markets go out of control to one side. Because this is what Theta is doing against Bitcoin. How about the other coins against Bitcoin? Practically all of them. Ethereum's kicking ass lately, but Theta has been that, and Chainlink. There's only been a few stellar ones out there. Stellar hasn't been too stellar though. Stellar Lumen, that is. But we have, from this beautiful move, it holds and stays within the 18. Yes, several periods where it's below it, but doesn't break down further. Then only one period. This is within this here. And how long of this week was it there? I can't remember, because it got above it. It closed at the highs, and then one period where it congested pretty much above the highs. You can say it's congesting above and just showing that, like, it's not, to me, it's not showing strength at the 18 average of highs for 3 periods. It's attempting to break out for 3 periods, and it's still in that attempt mode. And then on the situation of it breaking this baby out, where do I think this would go? Because, and the best way of doing this is a proper log scale, or using your mathematical equations. I love the other two, and I'm not going to get to the either one in this video, but you got to figure it's going to have a big move. And you would think, and this is where you'd be wrong by using a linear scale. Oh, this looks like a right area, like 12,000. No, it's going to be higher. it's going to be higher. It's just, it would look like that if it was a correct log move. But we'd be talking on a conservative level on a good significant break, and I think closer to 20, 18 to 20 conservatively, but realistically even near the 30. We'll see what happens in time. But the rewards for these coins can be just so fantastic. And even 6 figures within the next year, and Satoshi, or this going up 15, 20 times against Bitcoin from here on in, I think is live. And I'm not only going to say live, but either probable or not very unlikely. So greater than 33%. Okay. I think I just want to take a quick look at this, finish this off, because I use I've used the same program for years. I mean, I like the legacy stuff. I use Cam Studio, so this tells me I'm 21 minutes in. I got the time right here. Different miscellaneous settings. After I push the stop button, this is where I pause the tape, as I call it. I can push the stop button and I give it a file name. It will take me about, depending on the longer it is, the longer it takes, but it'll take me about 10 to 12 seconds to make the video. Then I'll listen to the first 4 or 5 seconds of it just to make sure it's not broken. And so if anything screws up on the audio afterwards, I'm not going to know. And one of every 400 times, 500, 600 times that happens. And that's sad to say. And it's happened several times. That's how many videos I've done on this channel. But anyway, maybe every 300 times. I don't know. But that's what I like to use. And then to upload it, this video will take about 6 minutes to upload. Damn, that H-bar is going down. That sucks. No big deal, though. It can correct well. Tesla's 3.8% up, but yeah, nothing else is really going down. Like these big moves. But when you look at it in perspective, though, I mean, 35, I'll finish it off with Tezos. We have 3,700 down to like 600 change. What, 5x? Yeah, it could go down more is one thing. And why has it been going down a lot? Well, a lot of it's because Bitcoin's been kicking ass, which again shows why Theta has been really phenomenal when you look at it from that perspective as well. So yeah, we could, and again, improper log scale with some of these coins. Don't know why. I mean, it's kind of an easy mathematical calculation to make, but with that being said, what would a 10x move be? That would be 7 here. How about a 20x move? That would be up to about here. And these coins having 10, 20x move from a bottom, that's child's play as a movie. Well, not like the movie, but as I remember hearing as a kid as a slang, like something that is just so easy. And then when I say conservative levels, that would be a conservative move. Which would make, when we look at this later on an up move, this down move not such a big deal, because you'd be seeing bigger green candles on the way up, and you'd be seeing price action going up in here, and then eventually you'd probably be saying later, I want to see like 3,200 or 32,000, because there's one that's a decimal on this one. I want to see the 32 handle area be support. At some point, I probably and think and hope that I'm going to be saying that, and then seeing that as well. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.